Hey everyone, my name is Jess. I'm a developer advocate at Warp, a terminal reimagined from the ground up to work like a modern app. We're built in Rust and we're compatible with Bash, Fish, and ZSH without any configuration. Our focus is mainly on speed and immediately trying to get developers to be more productive in their current workflows. And today I'm going to be walking you through all the features that you need to know to get started in Warp. Let's go. The first thing you'll notice is the input at the bottom. Unlike traditional terminals, Warp has a fully fledged text editor that works a lot like an IDE. So here I can click anywhere to move my cursor, I can select a word and replace it trivially, and any normal expected keyboard shortcut should work. So for example, I can run Command-Shift-Left to highlight to the beginning of my line, or use Option-Right or Option-Left to navigate by each word. I can also do some pretty cool stuff like run multi-line commands, or even use multiple cursors by pressing Ctrl-G to add a stable flag to both of my commands. The next cool thing that you'll notice about Warp is that we separate commands and their outputs into something that we call blocks. So for example, here I can run ls, and then I can run a command to output the contents of my to-do list. As you can see here, each command is semantically separated from the one before. And because we've separated out our commands into these block-like structures, we can do some really cool things with blocks. For example, I can quickly navigate to previous commands I've run by pressing Command Up, and then using the up and down arrow to navigate my blocks. I can also right-click on my blocks to do specific actions, for example, copying my command or copying my output. I can also search within a block for a certain keyword. You can also do something like search within a live block. So for example, if I typed in the command top to see all my running processes and then tried to search up QuickTime, you'll see that as my output updates, so does my search. And our search also supports regex syntax. Now let's say I'm in my React app repository and I tried to run a command npm start. Oh shoot, it's giving me an error. Now one thing I can do with this block is I can create a permalink to this block. This permalink will render as a web page with my command and its output, and I can send it to anybody that I want. So for example, if I copy this link and paste it into my browser like so, I can see that I ran npm start and all my output. You'll see that it preserves things like text formatting, color, and even links. This feature is great if you want to send an error message over to a coworker to help you debug async, or if you want to help a teammate onboard onto a new codebase. Another thing that I can do when I see an error like this is use Warp's AI features to help me debug. So let me talk a little bit about how to do that. Warp AI is Warp's integration with ChatGPT, and it can do things like help you debug errors, suggest the next command to run, or even walk you through a very complex setup. For this block specifically, I can access Warp AI by going to the top right of my block and clicking on the Zap icon here. It will automatically fill the query with relevant context about the error that I'm facing, and all I have to do is press enter and let Warp AI do its thing. So here it's telling me that I can kill the process currently running on port 3000 by running this command. I can easily input this command into my input prompt by pressing this button here, and I'm going to replace my PID with this one right here. Once I run it, I'm going to run npm start again to see if this fixed my problem. And you'll see that now this command is compiling successfully, so Warp AI has helped me debug my error. Currently, Warp AI is limited to 100 queries per user per day. So if you want an unlimited version, I would suggest you try out Warp's AI command search. To access Warp's AI command search, all you have to do is press hashtag and then enter whatever your query is in natural language. So for example, how do I kill all processes running on port 3000? Awesome, and then our AI command search will generate a suggested command to run, and if I have any questions about this command, I can click these buttons here to ask Warp AI to explain how it works or show me some examples. Alright, the next feature I want to talk about is Autosuggestions in Warp. With this feature, Warp can help auto-suggest commands so that you can quickly run commands that you've previously run before. So let's say, for example, I want to cd into my themes repository that lives in my documents directory. If I type in cd.do, you'll see that Warp is auto-suggesting the word documents, and I can press the right arrow to accept that suggestion. Now if I type /t, you'll see that Warp is auto-suggesting the word themes, which is the directory I want to go into, and again, I can press right to accept that suggestion. Tab completions in Warp also works very similarly, except it has additional description menus to give you more context on the command that you want to run. So for example, if I type in git status dash and then press tab, I can scroll through all the flags that are available to me right now. So for example, -b will show me all my branch information, or -u will show me all my untracked files. Next up in this video is the Universal Search Panel. Think about the Universal Search Panel as a one-stop shop for finding any command that you can't really quite remember off the top of your head. To access this panel, I can press Ctrl-R and then start typing any keyword that I'm thinking of. So for example, let's say I want to reset my Git branch, but I can't quite remember what command to run. I can type in git reset, and Universal Search will return back to me git reset hardhead, which is the command that I was thinking of. Or maybe, for example, I'm trying to run a script that I wrote yesterday that deletes all the screenshots from my directory. But I can't quite remember what that script is called. So I'm going to type in the word screenshot into my Universal Search, and it will actually return back to me a command that I run yesterday, so I don't have to remember the actual absolute path to that script. Our Universal Search Panel will search across your history as well as all your workflows. To give you some context on workflows, workflows are common commands that are included in Warp by default. These are often forgotten commands that our engineers sourced from mostly popular threads on Stack Overflow. You can press Ctrl-Shift-R to see all the available workflows, which range from commands like curl, docker, git, Python, React, SSH, and more. You can also filter in the Universal Search Panel by workflows and history by typing in workflows : or history : Next up, I want to show you a popular feature in Warp called Launch Configurations that lets you quickly open up a predefined setup. So let's say, for example, I get off work and I want to start working on my personal project where I'm building my own React app. Instead of taking all this time to navigate into my React app directory, open up my file that I want to edit, and then run npm start, here's what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to press Ctrl-Command-L to open up my Launch Configurations palette, and then I'm going to select my launch configuration called Launch React App. You'll see that this opens up a new session of Warp with one tab already in my React app repo, having run npm start, and the other tab opening up a NeoVim session in my index.js file so that I can start editing my code right away. Launch configuration saves you so much time and allows you to jump into your workflows a lot faster. I'll include a link to the documentation in the description of this video in case you want to set up your own launch configurations. We also support a lot of customization options out of the box in Warp, such as changing your font, using your own customized prompt. For example, here I'm using my custom Starship prompt. I can also do things like toggling my window transparency, and the best part is changing themes. So we ship by default with about 15 themes, including really popular ones like Solarized Dark, Grovebox Dark, or even things with really cool custom backgrounds. Now to wrap up, I'm going to mention 3 features that I cannot end this video without mentioning. One is that you can split panes in Warp. Command D to split vertically, Command Shift D to split horizontally, and then Command W to close. Number 2 is that you can command click links in Warp. So if I ls here, I can actually command click to open up my React app directory in my Finder. Or if I wanted to get funky and I wanted to download the entirety of the B movie, I can actually go into my block and command click on this link to see exactly what site I downloaded the movie from. And number 3 is the command palette. So if I forget the keyboard shortcuts to any important thing I need to do in Warp, all I have to do is press Command P to open up the command palette, and I can search anything I want to do. So for example, how to split a pane, or how to toggle my Autosuggestions. And that is it for this video. If you want to learn more, you can always read through our documentation, submit feedback on our GitHub repo, read our engineering blogs, or join our Discord. I'm going to include all the links in the description of this video below, and thanks for watching.